Today, we're going to talk about an incredible tool to facilitate your language learning experience. Now, to cut straight to it, it's called Anki. Maybe you've heard of it, maybe you haven't. If you haven't, there's probably something you might could learn today. If you haven't, you definitely want to incorporate this or something like it into your language learning experience, because it's a very powerful tool that will facilitate your language learning experience. It's going to make it easier. It's also going to kind of empower you, in a sense, to learn better. So basically, Anki is a flashcard program. It's on Android, it's on Windows, it's on Mac, it's on iOS, and it's free everywhere except on iPhone. So if you feel like contributing to what it is that they do, I strongly encourage it. Get it on iOS. It's $25 there. Everywhere else it's free. You can also get it on the computer. They have an online version, and it's very accessible. There's a lot of ways that you can get it. So pretty much wherever you exist, you can find a way to get it on a platform that you use. Now, what's nice about Anki is that Anki takes advantage of basically the forgetting curve. So the forgetting curve, if you don't know, is basically there's based on studies, there is a certain amount of, according to these studies, there's a certain amount of time where it basically is trying to maximize your learning, because after a certain amount of time when you've from when you've first come into contact with something, so say you learn what something is, basically over time your retention for that, your ability to recall whatever that was, is going to go down the further away you get from that one point. So it basically says, hey, let's say this is day one and your curve starts to go like this, and you go day two, so your curve comes back up and it restarts, because every single time you come into contact with it, it restarts. But the more you come into contact with it, kind of the flatter that curve gets. And so it's just Anki's basically trying to serve you up a card in your deck at the best point for you, so that you can flatten that curve on out. You can actually memorize the thing, whatever it is that you're learning, be it a word or some sort of fact, etc. So it tries to make it so that it basically makes it so that you can have a minimal amount of contact with that card, right? So in other words, it shows you a card after a certain interval, and that interval is supposed to be so you don't want to be studying it every single day. Instead, it says, hey, maybe this person needs to see this card again in 3 days so they can flatten out the curve and they can maximize retention. They can finally get that fully memorized. So it makes it so you need the minimal amount of contact. Instead of showing you, for example, I'm just exaggerating, showing you multiple times a day or once a day, it says, hey, after a set interval, and that interval increases with time. So maybe the first time you see it, it says, hey, we need to see this again in like 10 minutes. That's typically what it does. That's the default. And so you see it again in 10 minutes. So you see it twice in the first day. And then it says, okay, we need to see it again tomorrow, and then in 3 days, and then in 5 days, etc. And then eventually it's like a month, a year, or more before you need to see that card again to make sure that you still remember it. All right. So traditionally, there have been, these ideas floating around in society that, you need like 13 points of contact with a card, like a flashcard or a word, to learn it. And this just tries to make it so that rather than having to look at it all the time before you memorize it, just tries to facilitate your whole experience, tries to make it easier so that you need the least amount of contact with that card as possible. And this sort of system is called a spaced repetition system. It's a SRS for short. There are other programs that have it. Anki's not the only one. I think Quizlet has a feature like this, and there are plenty of others now. If you aren't using an SRS system, be it Anki or another, I would definitely incorporate it into your flow, because another nice thing about Anki is you can take words like, say if you're going through text or a podcast or something, you can take words, phrases, you can break down phrases into individual words that you didn't know, and you can just like on a Google Sheet, you can put them in there, and you can set it to auto translate. You can look up Google Translate how to do that. It's very simple, but basically it's like in a cell, say you have like a word in French and you want the definition in English, right? So in the first cell you have a word in French, and the second cell you want the word in English. So in the second cell you write equals, in all caps, equals Google Translate, open parentheses, and then you're gonna put A1 for the first cell if it's in A1, comma, in parentheses, in quotation marks, it should be FR, comma, and in quotation marks again, EN. Those are lowercase, the FR and the EN. So you're telling it from French to English that you want it to do. And so what's nice about that is that you can just come up with a whole list. Once you set that one cell to copy the one beside it, you can do this whole list, and you can just drag that on down, and it'll just copy all those. It'll just translate all those words in one go. Now you do need to go back through and make sure that translations are right, but it's a nice way to take stuff that you're coming across in another language that you want to learn, maybe reading a book, you're reading a short story, you're on Wikipedia, what have you, or you're listening to a podcast, and you want to learn whatever it is. It's a very quick way to do it. And the nice thing about Google Sheets, in addition to being able to do the Google Translate, is that you can go and hit File and download it to a CSV, and you can import that right on into Anki. And Anki, you just hit the import button and get it all into Anki right there. So it's you just tell it which deck it needs to go in, and you're good. Or you can create a new deck. So that's a very nice thing for your workflow. Also, I understand now that you can, there are ways to make it so that audio is effectively generated automatically using AI and real life voice samples, although I haven't tried this out yet. I want to try that out on my own and then come back and report and let y'all know how that went. But I'm very excited about that. That's something I learned about recently online. And I don't know, that just seems very exciting to be able to, purportedly you get to choose the voice that you want, and then you get to just tell it, hey, take all these and add the audio. That's my understanding. Maybe you have to do it one card at a time. I'm not sure, because like I said, I still have to give that a try, but I don't know, that seems very exciting. Being able to find a specific accent that you're interested in and say, hey, among those, I want like this male voice, this female voice, that sort of thing. I don't know, that seems very intriguing to be able to have that just ready to go in a very quick manner, just very convenient manner that you can just kind of do on your own. That would be really empowering because it really helps with the listening, with the speaking, because you're able to shadow right there. So we'll see how that goes. I'll report back. And until next time, let me know in the comments, have you tried an SRS system? Have you tried Anki? How did it go? Did you have any trouble with it? Did you find it was a real boon to your whole process, or what? Let me know. I'd be curious to find out. I've used it with a ton of languages, Chinese, Spanish, Tibetan, etc. Portuguese, French. I highly recommend it. So until next time, let me know in the comments. Have you used Anki, another SRS system? How did it go? Thanks, y'all. Till next time. Y'all take care now. Bye-bye.